Alrighty, what's up, welcome back. Okay, so I forget, this is part 3 or maybe 4, I don't remember, but as you guys know, if you're not caught up, we have my 240SX Zenki that we've been rebuilding for a good minute, but we finally got our engine in. Now we got our turbo system on, we did our ICT brackets and power steering. So today I have some other like miscellaneous stuff, like we gotta throw on the starter for it, we gotta do our power steering line, we got a turbo blanket just because with the turbo return right here, when we mock it up and all the heater core hoses and stuff, I want to limit all the heat just to that, and I just don't like this exposed like look. No matter what you try to do with a turbo, it will rust over like this. It did the same thing on the Supra as well when I didn't have an exposed, but I got one of these Torque Solution turbo blankets right here. This is for like a smaller frame turbo, and it's the blue. She came out very nice, looks pretty good, I like it. And then when I did run the car, it held heat pretty well. We have a bunch of other stuff too for the 240 we need to throw on, like we gotta do our waste kits, but I'm waiting for it to get a few fittings from the shop that I forgot to grab. We gotta run our blow off valve, then we can go ahead and do our pretty much all our other stuff. We gotta do our TriggaSpec oil relocation, make all our turbo lines and all that stuff, our heater code, and then we got a 3-port boost solenoid so we can control the boost, all the small like goodies that we have to kind of do, you know.
What's up guys, we're gonna interrupt today's video from our sponsor Endoman. So Endoman is a jump starter box that allows you to jump all your cars if in need, so no more jumper cables or having to look for a secondary car to be able to jump your car if you need to start it, or just in general if you need a huge power bank or an accessory bank to be able to run like a tire inflator, etc. Endoman got you covered. So let's get this unboxing and show you guys what's inside. So inside the Endoman, once you open it, comes with this very nice case right here, as you guys can see. Once the case is opened up, and inside you have your jump starter, your charging cable, and then of course the Endoman itself. So this truck's been sitting for a while. We got the Endoman hooked up, we got the jumper cable set up. It's very nice, a guide right here that shows you guys pretty much what the features are, which is nice. My old setups I used to have before didn't come with it, so that was difficult. But anyways, we got it hooked up. Now we're gonna hook it up to the battery. We got our Endoman, we're gonna hook it up to the cables, black to negative, red to positive, and let's check out how much juice we got. So 82%. This thing is pretty dead, so I already sucked some of the battery out of it, but now we're good to go to start the car up. Let's see if we get this baby started first try with the Endoman. Let's go. Honestly, I am very surprised. The Endoman just, without doing anything, was able to just turn it on its own. It's amazing. Pretty impressive guys, dead battery, considering Endoman one-man job, was able to turn it on its own. Is very, very amazing. Like I said before, if I wanted to do this, I would either need a second person or a second car, and having this is gonna be a lifesaver. Anyways, thank you Endoman for sponsoring today's video, and if you guys are interested in this product, there's a link in my description with a coupon code so you can get yourself one. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Peace.
But today we're kind of gonna practice, concentrate on the smaller stuff. So we have the power steering pump here, we have the setup right here that we did with the hard line with the TriggaSpec fittings right here, and then you guys come underneath right here. If you guys remember in the previous videos we did for the power steering, we did all the hydraulic lines right there for it, and then now we have our 2 TriggaSpec fittings right there, which is one is for the feed and one is for the return. So one's pressurized and one has less pressure. I gotta look at the schematic to remember how it is, but pretty much we gotta route the lines from down there coming up, and then one goes to this feed right here, so to that feed right there, that inlet thing right there, and then our other goes from here back to the rack, or whichever way it goes. I have to look up the schematics. But for pretty much hoses, we're gonna, so the car comes with like some hard lines and stuff. I obviously removed all that stuff, but we're gonna use this Continental hose that we sell at TriggaSpec. So this is like the hose we use for a lot of the stuff for kits, transcoolers, power steering, all that. It's a special hose. You're not really going to be able to find it too much anywhere. You have to order these in like looms of 100 foot at a time, which we do. But yeah, so it's rubber with steel like wire enforced, and it's push lock. It's very, very nice. This is good for very high PSI, so up to 300 PSI it says. And then for temperature rating, this thing can pretty much go, I believe, to 250 or 280, no problem, all day long. It's very good stuff. It won't take a shit on you, and you could run Dextron VI or any Dextron power steering or automatic transmission fluid through it, because otherwise if you try to use a normal fuel hose or etc., the power steering fluid has this material in it that will eat through the hose. So do not cheap out on this stuff if you're gonna do it, because you want to do the right stuff. But yeah, we got all this stuff, so now we can start getting it on. All right, so we got some petroleum jelly. This is what you're gonna want to use to be able to just let you push these on easier. We got our cutter, so we got our hose. So this is pretty much gonna feed into the rack from the pump. So I've routed the hose this way. I have to figure out if it will clear here, because you guys can see right there, the header's right there. So we want to make sure whichever way we put this, that'll clear first, and then we have to put heat sleeving on it, because I do not want it to just melt or anything, etc., due to the excessive heat of the headers. So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna first mount this up and then cut it to length, and I'll show you guys how it comes out. All right, so I went up and mocked the lines. So it looks like this right here, and then it sits against the frame rail and goes up. Obviously I will heat sleeve these so they don't chafe and then they're close to the header. But then it's very nice because it just comes up right here. We're gonna use this mounting point to hook these up right there. And then we have our top part that goes to the reservoir, and then I routed the bottom one that goes there, and it comes through right there for the nipple. So it's just roughly mounted. I'm gonna remove the hoses now, heat sleeve them, and then get them back in here so we could just do the final cutting and then tighten up the system, and we're good to go. So we ran the lines, heat sleeved them, and mocked it up. I used these clamps to be able to use a soft point to clamp it. So black hose goes to red fitting, goes to the rack. Orange hose is the return back to the pump. And underneath, as you guys can see right there, nice, very good clearance. There's never really no issues, so everything looks nice. So yep, now we're gonna go ahead and cut these hoses to length and be set to go. Alright, so you guys saw me cut up the lines. So alright, so we went ahead and pretty much used one of those unions right there, and then the rest pretty simple. So this push lock is in, and then that one needs a clamp, so just tighten it just enough. And then we also used one more of these right here, so it holds it nice in place. But very sleek setup, looks very good. And yeah, the only thing remaining, we just need to go ahead and tie in the bottom. Oh yeah, look at that, tons of room with the headers and clearance. Everything looks very, very good. I'm very happy with it. Fast forward to the future, it's gonna start raining, so we had to stop for a few days. But now we're gonna go ahead and do our starter and then do our clutch slave as well, or whatever that thing is called. And then we have our clutch line and all that stuff. So starter comes with this piece. Sits like this. This indentation faces towards the back of the car. And then for the hardware, so my trans obviously doing Plumber hardware. We're going to be using the Tomy exhaust hardware. Fits perfect. And then it has the 2 washers. I don't want it to go super far out in the trans, so a washer will do. And the nut for the stud that it came with the starter and trans. And then we have our 14mm bolts for the slave as well. It's not called slave, I forget the name, but those are size 14s as well. For the banjo bolts as well, I use the boost fittings, like the vacuum fittings that came, since they would work on the wastegate, since we're not going to be using them. And then I had to cut this one a tad bit short in order to get it to fit into here. Now I can go ahead and get a new bolt, but I think cutting it short will work perfectly fine. So yeah, we got this set up. Now we're gonna get underneath the car and mount the starter, and then mount our slave, and then show you guys how to do the clutch line. And then turbo blanket we'll do after, probably when we put our drain line on. So we're underneath the car now. This is the starter hole. As you guys can see, this hole goes through. That's what I meant, the Tomei nut. See my finger in the back? You don't want it to go super far out, because this clutch is going to be spinning, and if it hits that, that's bad news. And then our slave area. So the LOJ kit did require you to use an Allen bolt right here. That was there. I removed it. For whatever reason, it doesn't fit with the slave on. There's no room for it. I don't think it'll be an issue. The bolt trans mounted pretty much in every other location. It'll be fine. It's not gonna be too big of a problem. I just yeah, I'm not sure why it wasn't fitting, but anyways. So now pretty much take the starter hardware, our extension, and our Milwaukee ratchet, and let's do this. Alright, we got this stuff on. So spacer, remember, that goes on, and then our big boy. Alright, so just like that, we got our starter on, bolted, perfect, looking good right there. And on top, looking good too, so that's what the starter looks like. Very good clearancing as well, no issues. Now let's get to the sleeve. Cool. Put our guy in. So just like that, we got that part in as well, starter. And what I did was I applied some high temp grease, so this guy doesn't squeak. But that's it. So now we can go ahead and start doing the clutch line. So like I explained, we got both our banjos, and then since I have a crimping machine, pretty much able to utilize this setup. Use rubber lines to be able to mount them so they can give you the perfect length. This is the clutch length that we'll be using. I'll be selling these as well for everybody who does the swap, who would like a stainless steel braided. This rubber is only for mock-up. So to route the lines, we're gonna go ahead and do this. So we're gonna pass this line through there, and then this guy we're gonna bring through under here. So like that, bring the line here. I'll show you guys how to mount it up right now. Alright, so double washer, just hand tie, it's a 12 mil. Now we're gonna go underneath the car. Take our other banjo and our clutch line, as I explained right there, going over the trans, we'll bring it down and should just mount just like that right there. Just like that. Give it just a little bit of clearance with the bolt so we're not touching it, but just like that, we got a clutch line going all the way through. As you can see, the routing of the line going through right there, coming up. Nice piece right here. We can go ahead and tighten this down to whatever spec we like, or whatever way. That's pretty much it. So the last part that remains is just measuring the heat sleeve to add on to the clutch line. Alright, so for where the clutch line is going to be, we don't really need to do any heat sleeving because the material I use is like this hose, the brake hose. But down here, where the comes down to the trans and bolts up right there, we're gonna have this Mondingo downpipe coming through here, and I'm gonna get a starter heat wrap too for it to put around it, but this I would not want it melting or whatever, so that's where we're putting the heat wrap. But yeah, it looks very good. So now I'm just gonna take this off. Now we got mocked up, so we can make it crimp. And then that's pretty much it. So we got the ICT billet adapter set up. Power steering is now done. Got all the stuff mocked up for it. Good to go. Lines are ran, heat sleeved. We got our clutch line we're gonna make for it now. Crimp it, and yeah, so pretty much that's what I'll do for today, because I gotta do some other stuff now. But next video we'll show how to plumb your wastegates. So you guys can see we have the TriggaSpec quick release fittings for the wastegates, and yeah, do all the stuff for this. Set up our boost controller. There is so much left to do on this car, but I'm getting there. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in part, I want to say 5, might be 4.